parents and professionals, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make sure that you are creating the best possible environment and circumstances for your young person to be able to be the best young person that you might like them to be. Very often when I meet families for the first time, they might talk about different sorts of challenges that they're having with the young person in their life. Be that something related to their behaviour, their attitude, their commitment to studying, you name it, I've probably heard all of it. What I've also come to notice over the years is that it's very easy to start pointing the finger at the different influences that the young person has in their life that could be contributing to some of the bad decisions that they might be making. Perhaps the school is not the best possible school for them. Perhaps they're hanging out with the wrong crowd. Maybe they've just got a bad attitude and commitment towards the family dynamics. There's all sorts of things that can contribute towards a young person's state of mind and the quality of their lifestyle that they are choosing to lead. And I've also met with both parents and professionals who have done their absolute best to change those circumstances surrounding that young person in order to get them onto the right track once again. I've met parents who have sent their children to boarding school in order to see if that changes them. I've met teachers who have put children on term-long detentions to see if that changes them. I have met parents who have grounded their children for a month. And I've met teachers who have prevented a young person from sitting with another young person who they believe is a bad influence upon them. I'm going to say something a little bit controversial now, so hold on to your pants. There typically is one other common denominator in that young person's life which could be influencing the way in which they are feeling, reacting and behaving. And that one common denominator is you. Yeah, sorry, I warned you it was going to be a little bit of a tricky one. So here's the thing, I'm not saying that you're to blame for how this young person is showing up in the world at the moment, but perhaps there is something about the way in which you interact with them which kind of keeps them in the place that we don't really want them to be in. So for example, very often young people know when they are perhaps making some decisions that are not going to serve them very well or that are risk-taking types of behaviours. They very often know when they're doing that. And some young people, most young people, also go through a phase of acting out of rebellion, which means the more that you try and push them in one direction, the more they're going to push back and go in completely the opposite direction to the one you want them to go in. Sometimes we end up fighting fire with fire because we are, instead of being creative about how we mould and sculpt that young person's behaviour changes, are just creating conflict and pushing back up against them all of the time. Now, here's the thing with young people. They are committed, they are persistent, they are consistent, and if you keep acting in the same way, so will they. If you want to make things change, sometimes you have to look at getting a little bit more creative, a bit more bold in the decisions that you make so that you can start to shake up the system and evoke some different responses from them. Now, those different sorts of responses might mean that you need to be firmer, but those different sorts of responses might also mean that you need to relax. I've spoken with parents who couldn't get their kids out of bed and had spent years and years and years trying to get their child up in the morning, but were not brave enough to go in there with a bucket of cold water to wake them up in the mornings. Sometimes you need to shake the system up in that way. But equally, I've met parents who have been so committed to laying down the law and enforcing the rules that their young person has reacted badly too. And in those sorts of cases, it's not about being more dramatic, it's actually about being more relaxed. Think about it. If you have someone who always reacts in a predictable way towards you, then in order to change things, either you or they are going to have to do something different. And you're the one who's watching this video, so you're the one who has the knowledge and therefore has the ability to take responsibility for changing things. If your reaction when your young person says, "I'm going out tonight," is, "No, you're not," right, you want to go out. Well, I'm happy for you to do that, but there are some other things that I need you to do first, like your revision. If you can show me that you've done your revision, then we can talk about you going out and what time you're coming home again afterwards. If that's different to the response that they're used to having from you, then it's going to make something different happen in them. Now, it might not give you the desired results straight away, and that's okay. It means that you need to persist a little bit, and if it's still not working, change it and do something else instead. Now, I hear from both adults and young people, I've tried everything. Listen, no one's tried everything. There's too many different options available to us in the world for you to have tried everything. It may be true that you've tried everything that you can think of, but everything you can think of is probably significantly less than everything that's available to you when it comes to different ideas. So maybe you would benefit from talking to someone else and brainstorming some other ways of doing things. Sometimes we get so stuck in our heads and stuck in a rut with what we're doing that we can't come up with additional ideas. But when you start to speak to someone else about it, they'll give you some input from a completely different perspective, and you'll find that some new ideas start to come to the fore. So my challenge for you this month is to avoid blame and begin working on building trust by doing things in a different way. And one final note before I let you go is, if you haven't already purchased the book Stop Anxiety and Grow Confidence from NLP for Kids, then I strongly suggest that you visit the description box below, where you will find a link to it on Amazon. It looks like this. This book isn't just useful for parents or professionals who have a young person in their life struggling with anxiety. Actually, I've had plenty of adults come to me and tell me this book has been extremely helpful for them and their anxiety too. But most importantly, there are tips in here around how to develop confidence and self-esteem, and there's a whole chapter included about how to improve communication with young people. So head on over to Amazon, where you can purchase a copy of this book and read more about it in the descriptions box. But for now, thank you very much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell so that you get notified the next time I upload one of these videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next month. Bye!